start introducing you. Okay. Hello, everybody. And where are we? Well, the house at Round Top. But some people have another name for it. It says the advent of a very popular motion picture called The Conjuring. And my name is Carl L. Johnson. I'm a paranormal researcher who specializes as a demonologist. And that means I address some of the more malevolent seeming situations with paranormal leanings that are brought to my attention. But why are we here? The door was unlocked. But I first came here in August of 1973. And that was at the invitation of Roger and Carolyn Perron. I was a member of a team based at Rhode Island College, Providence. And my brother had placed an ad in a local paper advertising our team, PIRO, Parapsychology Investigatory and Research Organization. And we advertised our services for actually coming into a residence and investigating what people thought might be a haunted house. Well, our first respondent was Carolyn Perron of Harrisville, Rhode Island. She said that she and her husband, 2 years before, had acquired a farmhouse built in 1736, and they had some strange goings on. They wanted us to come up and evaluate and take our readings and see what we thought of it. We were more than happy to do so. So Mrs. Perron came to Rhode Island College and met us and gave us directions to her farmhouse, her and her husband Rogers. So we came here, and a lot was happening that first time we came here. Now you've seen the movie storyline. It's based on a real situation, of course, but what actually transpired, I'll tell you as we walk through the house. So I remember first coming into this room and meeting Mrs. Perron here. And, well, we had an interview conducted in this room, and it was Carolyn and her 5 daughters, Carolyn Perron. And while we were asking them questions about what they were experiencing here, out of the ordinary, I heard some shuffling around upstairs from where the girls' bedrooms are positioned. And I kept hearing moving and footsteps. So I said, "Excuse me, Mrs. Perron, do you have guests upstairs?" And she and the girls said, "No, we hear that almost every day, and we don't find anybody up there." So interesting. I waited till the interview resumed, and I made my way out of the room, went up the stairs to where the bedrooms are, and looked around this little hallway that joins the bedrooms. So the noises ceased when I went up there. Oh, I know I heard people up here, but now I don't see anybody up here. And then out of my right peripheral vision, I saw something dark. It was actually like a hole cut out into the fabric of reality. You know, it wasn't so much black, it was just nothing there. But my eyes registered it as darkness. I turned and looked, and this dark patch was coming towards me, rolling down this hallway. My first thought was there's a fire in the house and I'm going to smell smoke. So this thing rapidly advanced. I thought it was a backdraft. Advanced upon me, I closed my eyes reflexively and then opened my eyes and it was gone. So I went back downstairs. My twin brother Keith was downstairs. He was a member of our team. And I gave him the twin look, you know, something's up. And I remember going down to the basement. I was the first one down there of our investigating team. It was a spooky feeling. Then the basement was illuminated by one hanging light bulb. Before I left the basement, that light bulb just went out, just failed. So you picture an 18-year-old Carl there, oh, you know, and but I was able to see where the stairwell was, made my way back upstairs. So as we come through here, follow me along. And this is just such memories for me. I've never felt unwanted here. I've never felt that there was something ominous and evil. I just, it feels like homecoming every time I come back here. I think if somebody has a good attitude about the house and just wants to discover and experience it, they will have a good experience, because it's not so much that this house is haunted, it's that the house is the haunting. It was built in 1736. It's had many decades to absorb the memories, and it's become somewhat of an organism in itself. And this mirror, this is noteworthy. Because when current owners Corey and Jen Heinzen had the closing on the house, next week will make the 2-year anniversary of that. They invited me over, and I remember looking around. That mirror. I remember that mirror. That looks like the mirror that was hanging here when the Perrons owned this house, when Roger and Carolyn Perron owned this house. And so I went over to it, looked in this mirror. This is a true experience that I cannot explain. I looked into that mirror and I saw myself as I appeared when I was 18 years of age. I had my red polo shirt on that I was wearing that day. My reflection moved with me, but my face was young and had shoulder-length blonde hair. I'm seeing myself as I looked all those years ago. I started a call for Corey and Jen and Elise, but I had a feeling that by the time they made their way near, it would stop. I wanted to make sure it wasn't the trick of the light. You know, I knew what I was seeing, so I just memorized it. I looked at my reflection for about a minute and a half. I tried moving away from the mirror, coming back, and that was my younger self there. I said, I know it's true. I am seeing this. I'll never forget that I saw this. So I told everyone afterwards what a letdown it was when I went to the bathroom and they had that long mirror in there. No, I'm back to what I was. It's not going to stay. But it was more than looking at a video or a movie, a home movie. I was actually seeing myself as I looked. It was like real time, except that I was a lot younger. Also, this room is significant because a seance was conducted in here, and that went very wrong. That was October 30th, 1973. At that time, Ed and Lorraine Warren had taken over this investigation. I will say what the Warrens conducted here, ours with our team at Rhode Island College, it was an investigation. We were taking readings and measurements, documenting. What the Warrens did was an intercession. You know, they were convinced right away that this house was haunted by a maleficent presence, the demon witch Bathsheba. And so it ceased being an investigation, became an intercession or intervention at that point. You know, and then by that time our group was done with it. So eventually Lorraine Warren, elegant Lorraine Warren, I remember showing her around this house with Carolyn. But she decided that there should be a seance conducted here because supposedly spirits have all kinds of information. They wanted to get to the root of the problem here. And I think it was only a problem because it was startling. You know, I never thought of this as a really harmful presence here. So, anyway, the seance was arranged. Roger Perron came back from work. He'd been on the road and found a seance table set up and a medium and then Lorraine Warren here and a priest. So Roger was not happy about that. He said, well, let's go through with it. You've already started. So as the seance progressed, quickly Carolyn Perron seemed to be taken over. Now, I was not here to witness this, but I've spoken to people who were here. Carolyn seemed to be out of it, like disassociated, and she began to mumble and speak in some other, what sounded like a language. I think it was just gibberish, but she was moaning and chanting. And as she got further into it, and the medium started to ask her questions, suddenly Carolyn's body was propelled from her chair into that next room where we were standing. It's thrown in there. So people thought she died. She was just inert on the floor. Roger Perron got up to help his wife, and as he went over to her, Ed Warren advanced and blocked his way and told Roger, you must never touch the possessed. Unwise thing for Ed Warren to say, because Roger Perron struck him and knocked him down and said, that's it, no more paranormal teams in this house. I've had it with this. And so they actually ended in an acrimonious note, but it must have been an interesting night to have those things happen there. The priest was just, I don't recall his name, but he was just transfixed and then terrified and bewildered. He didn't say anything. He just went to the corner of the room. It's not every day you see some grown woman being thrown out of her chair into the next room. So this room has been rearranged. It used to be a kitchen, actually, but I remember it as a receiving room here. But this is where a table was set up and the seance conducted. So Interesting time. I'm sure Ed and Lorraine Warren meant well. Were trying to help in their own way. But it was just not a good time for a seance, not a good place for a seance, unless one just wants to experience paranormal activity. If that's someone's goal, you can get that, but it's ill-advised to do it that way. So if we could come this way. Oh, actually over here, a point of interest. Whole house is a point of interest. I think people want to bring trigger objects to help promote spirit communication. This house is the trigger object. If we could come through here, please. Norma Sutcliffe was the successive owner of this house. Her husband Jerry had his library here. Expansive library. I'm sure he read all these books. So, this used to be the bedroom, and during the time the Perrons owned the house, Roger and Carolyn Perron's bedroom, and Carolyn supposedly had a horrific experience, which her eldest daughter Andrea Perron recalls her screaming here. She had a vision of this woman really without a face, this distorted image standing over her and chanting a threatening curse at her. So what the reality behind that was, we can't know, but she did have a very upsetting experience in this room, Carolyn Perron did. And well, getting back to when our team was investigating here shortly after that incident, Pyro was called in, and it was a very affable first visit. We had some strange things happen upstairs. One thing that occurred was, I remember our case manager was too ill at ease to go down to the basement, but we did persuade her to come upstairs to the bedrooms area. And in one of the girls' bedrooms, there was a window ajar. And this was August, and the rest of the house was sweltering. But it was like an icebox in that one room. I asked Roger about the window. I said, the window's open, yet it's cold in here? I said, I can't shut it. It's jammed open. I went over, put my weight into it. I don't want to break it, but no, I can't shut it either. Well, my brother Keith, my twin brother, came up, and he tried an experiment, kind of a provocation, religious provocation. My brother recited a biblical psalm, the 23rd Psalm, and then he said the holy name of Jesus. As soon as he said that, the window slammed shut on its own. Maybe it was coincidental, just good timing, but that window banged down when he said Jesus. So I think more than coincidence, actually. So we were quite satisfied with our first visitation to the Perron's family. And the next time, it was about 2 weeks later, Carolyn Perron asked if she could call me. I became her liaison. She would call me and tell me things that were happening in the house as they were transpiring. One time, Carolyn Perron was slicing an orange on her kitchen counter. Well, she called me right back because she said she sliced this orange and what looked like blood seeped out of it. I mean, there's a blood orange, but this was a viscous fluid. I don't know if it was just the fruit was like that, but spilled onto the floor and onto her feet. So all kinds of strange things. I could hear noises, thumpings, bangings in the background as I was speaking to Carolyn Perron. And she would call me like 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a day because there was that much activity here. Now, to me, I didn't feel it was that disturbing, but then again, I wasn't living here and subjected to that on a daily basis. Okay, so this room, of course, now is a library. This is a room where I always feel as though I'm being watched. I mean, I'll feel that in different pockets, different areas of the house, but here it's like a surveillance camera, and there's something watching me now, listening to me. It doesn't bother me, but it's aware I'm talking about the house. I wouldn't call myself an overly psychically sensitive person, but I got that feeling. You know, I don't know if you folks are feeling it. There's the atmosphere's thicker. There's something different here. You know, yes. I don't know what it has to do with you know, geometrically how the room is positioned, the slant of the ceiling, the floorboards, all giving that impression. But nothing explains why I feel like something's listening to me, besides you good folks, and interested in what I'm saying to you. I don't know, maybe some people who are watching kind of get that feeling, even though they are not here at the time. But people have said that even when they watch a video of the home, sometimes when a person's coming to this room, they're like, no, there's something up in that room. No. Well, come around this way, sneak around. There's that mirror. That's magic isn't there now. Well, you can come into the kitchen for a moment, please. I know you have it set up as your headquarters. So, I've had many good conversations, especially with Roger Perron here in this room. In later years, in fact, like not long ago, a couple of years ago, I was talking with Roger here. And, but I remember speaking with Roger and Carolyn Perron in this house in 1973. It's too bad our investigation was eclipsed so quickly after we began it. Carolyn Perron contacted me and asked if our group could come back. This was about a little shy of 2 weeks later after we'd been here the first time. And in that time, Carolyn Perron had changed so much when we came back here to Harrisville. She looked as though she hadn't eaten in that. She was a slender woman anyway, but just looking rather haggard and tired and unwell. Yes, she didn't appear to be sick. Just she was wasting, like thinner. And I said, what has happened to Carolyn? Roger, for his part, he had developed scratches on his arm. He woke up with them. Roger was not taking the haunting in this house too seriously before, but he was disturbed. He was upset, wanted to know why these scratches were appearing on his arms. Well, Roger would be best to tell why he thought so. But yeah, so things were happening. It was becoming a little heavy in here. I and our team were acquainted with Ed and Lorraine Warren of Monroe, Connecticut. Now, I met the Warrens at Rhode Island College. They were giving a lecture hosted by the college in Roberts Hall, Rhode Island College. That was the night I met Ed and Lorraine. That was August 1972. I was just a tot. And but Ed had a question and answer interaction with the audience. So is there anybody out there who has done like a magic ritual? So has anyone there talked on a spirit board? Come up here, young man. So I became part of the lecture impromptu. And actually some people in the audience were asking me questions about my spirit board experiences and ritual magic. I said, well, let's talk to Ed and Lorraine. And afterwards, after the lecture, I was approached by two members of this group, PIRO, Parapsychology Investigatory and Research Organization based at the college. They invited me to attend the next meeting and asked if I would consider membership in their group. So I accepted, and my twin brother came with me, of course. He was at the lecture. And so I became a member of PIRO. And we had done exterior settings, investigations, and we wanted to handle a interior setting, a residential case, and that is what, to the effect that my brother placed that ad in the local paper. Domino effect, Carolyn Perron answered. So we had been conducting this investigation here for about a month. Again, this was August 1972. And my brother and I conceived of calling Ed and Lorraine Warren to consult. And our case manager, Donna, thought that was a splendid idea. I think we all thought of this at about the same time. And it's not that we felt we were in over our heads. At no time did we feel overly challenged by this house. We just thought it would be a nice professional touch to contact Ed and Lorraine and benefit from their vast experience. So Ed volunteered that they would come here. I said, wow, this is splendid. Not only we're investigating this old haunted farmhouse, but now we have Ed and Lorraine Warren coming here. And I remember being on the phone with Ed Warren. I said, I understand this is going to be a co-investigation. We'll be working with you fine people. And it's, oh, absolutely. I said, would you like our case files? Mail them right over to me. So in September of 1973, I believe it was our third visit here as a team, Pyro came over and I waited in the driveway for Ed and Lorraine to pull up. And I welcomed them in. And I had what was then an extreme pleasure of helping conduct Ed and Lorraine Warren on a tour of the house. And I told them what we had experienced before. And, oh, this is getting more and more interesting. So, but then the next day, I anticipated hearing from Carolyn Perron. I thought I'd have that familiar phone call. And I was going to say, how did it go with the Warrens there? You know, what do you think? I didn't get the call, didn't receive a call from her the next day. Tried calling her, no answer. So after some days went by, we had a meeting of our team, Pyro, and we decided that either this situation had intensified and the Warrens were very busy with the Perrons, or they'd resolved it. In any event, we didn't seem to be involved in this investigation anymore. 16 days later, after the last time I'd spoken with Carolyn and that tour with the Warrens here, Carolyn Perron did place a call to me. Carolyn told me, she apologized for not having been in touch, but she told me that the Warrens informed her and Roger that they could be of no use, no help, unless they were the sole paranormal investigators here. They said we were just a team of college kids and we couldn't do any good, we'd just be in the way. So eventually we lost out on that case because of that, but still good memories of those times. And our case manager, Donna, she's still embittered about that, and I can understand why, because our case essentially was usurped. But it's so long ago, and I just thought it was a series of interesting experiences as they were. Now I'm back in touch with the Perrons and attended one of the early showings of The Conjuring. My brother talked me into going to see the movie. I said, Keith, it's not going to be very real. I don't know if I want to see it. Oh no, the Pyro members are going, you know, we used to be in Pyro. So I went with my brother Keith to the Showcase Cinema, and I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I really did. I mean, loosely based on history, but I'll tell you, there's a scene where they show Ed and Lorraine Warren lecturing, portrayed by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, respectively. Vera Farmiga. And there's a cameo shot of Lorraine Warren in the audience. And her daughter Judy, you can just see her for a second. Beautiful Lorraine Warren. And many of you, I'm sure, have not had the experience of actually seeing Ed and Lorraine, knowing them, hearing them lecture. Well, watching that movie, I've got to say, that scene, it was like watching Ed and Lorraine. Their interaction with each other, comedic, in turn serious, you know, just watching that. What a charming couple. And that was like watching, that's as close as you can get, besides watching video footage of Ed and Lorraine, of actually seeing them lecture, to see Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga portraying Edward and Lorraine Warren in those movies. So, good memories everywhere. Now, can you follow me upstairs? Those of you who can navigate the stairwell, that's a good way to enter. I think we're right through. I'm sorry to get you up. I'm disrupted. Yeah. Now, I didn't bring a flashlight. I don't think I need one.
Want a flashlight?
Let me see what's going on. That's not going to help me.
You want a flashlight? Here, we get your flashlight.
Yeah,
oh, Marianne has one.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Keep yours on hand. Okay. You follow me, please?
With me, see.
Because I remember making my way up the stairwell when I heard some motion up here. It sounded like they had guessed. There's no one up here. Let's see if the same thing happens. Okay. Piece of cake.
Well, if you fall, I will catch you.
If I should stumble, catch my phone.
Okay. I know we have a light in here. Let's turn this one on here. Oh, 308.
Oh my.
You know that's wrong, right? But
well, you could just say
308.
we're good that late. But this is live time, live stream.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, memory serves me. This is that window. Remember you telling me about a window that the casement was just jammed open? And that's what it sounded like.
Huh.
But it was jammed. I mean, I don't know. I thought moisture or something. I don't know why it was cold in the room. I leaned on it. Roger leaned on it. I did. So if I lean on it any further, any heavier, it's going to break. But then my brother read the psalm. It was open more than this. And with the name of Jesus, and so it sounded. And we're all over here when that happened.
Wow.
So, amazing things in this house. And I can open this door. Nobody's asleep in there, are they?
No, no.
Not for long. We can't get out of here.
Oh, it locked us in. Look at
There
that.
we go, yeah. We have a little guardian there. Going to become part of your video. Well, the door was open here when I came up there those many years ago. And this is where I saw from that bedroom, actually the third one, going down. That's where I saw this darkness rolling towards me. Well, how did I describe it? Like a hole cut in the fabric of reality. It just, because it was just dark. And that was my impression, that it was smoke from a fire. I mean, I said, I'm going to smell smoke. This is bad. The house is burning. I just, then it was gone. I didn't have any emotional reaction to startle me. Interesting, though, people have seen that since. I may or may not have been the first one to experience that. I'm the first one to have documented it. But Kyler Heinzen, about 2 years ago, he came and stayed overnight at the house. I think he was staying overnight then, and they reside in Maine. And so this blackness came down. He saw the same thing, I believe in the same space. He saw the dark thing and the darkness, and it disturbed Kyler so much that he didn't come back here for some weeks. And I hadn't told him about that I had experienced that all those many years ago. I don't know what it is. Perhaps a shadow person that doesn't take on a human-like form. Maybe that's just how it manifests. But the television show Ghost Adventures, they are a real team. They did an investigation here and documented it for one of their episodes. That became their Halloween episode of 2019. Yeah, that was a popular one. Well, I was just supposed to be interviewed about my experience, like I'm speaking to you. And I actually became part of their investigation. Because when we were filming us approaching the house, Zach Bagans, their lead team investigator, he saw, I can say Ghost Adventures, can I?
Yeah.
And, well, I saw something dark in the porch, the closed-in porch. I saw something black moving in there. And Zach says to me, Carl, did you see that? I said, yeah, I saw something. I thought it was one of your guys with like a duffel bag moving in there. He said, no, our people aren't in there. So we ran up there. So let's go. There had been nobody in that porch. So both Zach Bagans and myself saw that black thing moving, black, dark thing moving in the porch. So Zach determined they would start their investigation one night early. And so my brother Keith and I are taking notes and looking at the monitor, the screen, surveillance of the different rooms. And all of a sudden we hear Zach's voice. I want Carl up here, now! So I went in there and I became part of the investigation. And boy, that was fun. I did tell myself that I will not say dude. I don't say that on television. I was on Ghost Hunters the first 2 seasons and then left of my own volition. I've been on a number of those television shows, but I will not say dude. Especially on Ghost Adventures. Wouldn't you know it, I had a trimeter, and the temperature started to go up, and it started to react, like, ding, 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 ding. I'm standing in this room, and I went, dude! Fortunately, they did not keep that in the final edit. We had a thunderstorm, a substantial thunderstorm going on outside, and those lightning flashes are real, right on time. And I saw the darkness that night too. I didn't know if I even wanted to tell the guys. That's what they expect me to say, that I saw something. But I did. I saw we're actually trying to let it speak through me. I told Zach Bagan and Aaron Goodwin, I said, I feel something, Billy. I said, I feel what I felt here 46 years before. I feel that something wants to speak through me. The house wants to talk through me. So I'm not talking about becoming possessed or channeling necessarily. It just wants to say something, and I'm its receptacle. And I said, I should get outside. I'm trying to be responsible. I shouldn't let anything like this happen. So Zach Bagans is saying, Carl, please don't go. Let it speak for you. I said, well, we are here to discover. So I just opened my thoughts and said, if you want to speak through me. I don't know what I said. I didn't know until I saw the program that it was actually saying, and I have no recollection of saying that. It's saying, don't go, don't leave, over and over again. So then, everybody in the room leaves me alone there. So, thanks guys, you got what you want. Yeah. Okay, now I'm here alone. I must say it feels a little spooky. Well, I didn't say that to them, but I'm thinking it. And by gum, that darkness came into the room with me. You know, and I don't know if I even want to tell them, because they'll expect me to say I saw something. I did tell them, and fortunately it was filmed and documented, so they do have that on film, that blackness I saw was coming in. Billy experienced, their investigator. He saw it and he filmed it. So if we could come through, all kinds of interesting things happen in the house.
All your toys in there, is that okay?
Huh?
All your
Can
toys
fit
are in there?
through here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Jen's.
Okay. Sorry, I got stuff in here.
Yes. There are also 2 large German Shepherds dogs downstairs. Yeah, they can be startling. I think this was Andrea's room. This was actually the room when the Ghost Adventures team was here. We got the most reaction from their instrumentation. And the premise was we were going to recreate, and we did recreate the original investigation as closely as we could approximate that, as we did it in 1973. They had the old cassette recorder, and all the instrumentation was what you would have in 1973, and that's what we started. So what I had in here wasn't even a trimeter, it was just like a Gauss meter, and that was reacting in here. It's a little warm and stuffy here, not too uncomfortable, but not too much oxygen in here either.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine what it felt like all those years ago when it was August. August. That one room back when it was cold.
Yeah, look, it's cool today.
Yeah. And footsteps, thumpings, doors opening and closing. I won't even say almost, that is commonplace here now.
Especially CD, right?
Yeah. This one, it doesn't have all that much play in it. See? But
Did you notice the doors are upside down?
yes, it's always short people. I don't know, Andrea Perron's taller than eyes. See, now this has been known to, and it's been filmed, opening like that. I mean, that would be an easy thing to stage, but a number of people have been here and have experienced this and captured it on film. These 2 doors open and close. There's a story of Carol and Perron being attacked by hangers. Came off this rod here. I don't know, I wasn't here for it.
That was Ghost Adventures, right?
Actually, they were talking about it, but back in the days when the parents first owned this for several years, actually I believe it was her first year here, Carolyn Perron, as co-owner of the house, that she experienced the hanger incident. I don't know, I've heard 2 different tellings of that. I've heard it was one hanger that flew at her, I've heard it was several. I don't know. But I know these doors, open and close, the upside down doors. Okay. Oh, another mirror, I haven't had an experience with that one.
Here's the light in here. Let's turn light on in here.
This looks very much as it did. Nearly
There we
49
go.
years ago. Now we can see what we're doing.
Now we can see.
Yeah. Usually there's some writing on the chalkboard. There's none that I left there. I think folks are in hopes that sometime there'll be some writing that no one can explain that, but I haven't heard of that happening here. Yeah. Oh, what a place. I think it has something to do with the layout of the house, the formation. You know, it's just, if dimensions are a little off, floors uneven, the ceiling's a little crooked, it will throw off your perspectives, you know, your sensations, your perceptions. That may open someone, make them more aware to a haunted activity. And of course, we really don't have scientific terminology to apply to these things. It's like you say PK for psychokinetic force, but it's just, or you can say the ghosties. You know? But I never felt it was anything demonic. I never thought it was anything threatening. I I might have felt different if I was living here like the parents did, but it just never has bothered me. It's always been intriguing. Chair wasn't here when I first came here. No, we were standing around sweating a lot. when I first came here.
Oh, I imagine.
Yeah. I also owe a debt of gratitude to my twin brother Keith. We were all vital components. If Donna had not founded the group at Rhode Island College, we wouldn't have come here. If I had not, I was a key component because if I had not attended that lecture given by the Warrens, then I wouldn't have been invited to join Pyro, and the Warrens would never have come here. You know? If my brother hadn't placed that ad, made many valuable contributions to the investigation, it wouldn't have happened. So it's like cause and effect is remarkable. Okay, now if we can get down here.
These are the fun steps.
Oh.
And actually, other ones I think are worse than these. Yeah.
I've known some paranormal investigator to kind of take a spill down.
Oh, I'm sure.
Weird landing on it.
Yeah.
Throws it off.
Well, you can parlay that into something dramatic too. Oh no, the hand in the back of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, tricky.
Yeah.
Now, in those movies, The Conjuring 1, 2, and 3, you see Ed Warren is portrayed as a very athletic figure. But I remember Ed in 1973, he was winded coming up those steps. And I thought, and his face was kind of ashen too, a grayish pallor to his complexion. I wondered if Ed had a heart ailment, you know, even then. Because I noticed that coming up the stairs, he was okay the rest of the time, but coming up the stairs, he was suddenly winded. And I think his heart was in palpitation. I think that was the beginning of his heart issue. I don't think it had been diagnosed at that time, but he had a series of minor heart attacks and then a couple of major ones, and the last one, you know, just devastated him. He never recovered from that. So when you see that portrayed in like The Devil Made Me Do It, The Conjuring 3, yeah, they do allude to his heart issue, which was very real. And Lorraine carries, in a locket, she carries a nitroglycerin pill. And so, yeah.
Did she really ever do that, do you think?
You know,
I think she probably would have.
I'm sure, knowing Lorraine, I'm sure with all her jewelry and lockets, and I'm sure she carried some medicine for Ed there. But it was, of course, very sad when he went and the way he went, because he lingered for some time after that, after his last massive heart attack. Well, I'm sure the last one would claimed his life. You know, but I think if they make another Conjuring movie, which sure they will, Conjuring 4. They will probably have Ed pass on in that. Patrick Wilson will end his role as Ed Warren, and I think they'll have him pass on in that, which will be accurate. We can come down this way, please. Watch out for your heads. You're over 5'6".
I don't know how to draw them here.
At 5'8", I have to duck under this. Spider! What could it mean?
As long as it's not a tick.
Is it furry?
I don't know if it's furry. I don't know what the lights.
Few light switches work here.
Yeah. Maybe it's this one over here. This one over here, maybe?
Yeah, that's right.
It might be this one. Okay.
Yeah, that's
There
it.
we go. That's the one to blind you.
I'll tell you, this has been a pleasure. This is a homecoming for me. You know, I'm no star with this investigation. I am pivotal in that it never would have happened without my presence, but several people can say that. And fortunately, Jen and Corey Heinzen have purchased this wonderful home and open it to guests. And I don't think anyone comes away disappointed if they want to explore the house, investigate. I can't give names, but it's about 1 month ago. There was a couple here. They paid a hefty fee to investigate the house. They went down to the basement. They were only in the house a half an hour, all said and done. They went down to the basement, came up several minutes later, and left. Nobody knows what they experienced, but it must have been gangbusters. So, any questions from your wonderful team?
Do you have any questions?
I think I've answered them all.
Does anybody have any questions on there? Because
Anybody writing any questions? So, my name is, again, Carl L. Johnson.
Any questions, anybody?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I am a member of a team of 2, Paranormal with Elise Giamarco Carlson. She's here tonight. Of course, she wasn't here with that first investigation because she would have been a little girl. I was already shaving. I wish somebody else could experience what I saw in that mirror. I even had my sideburns. Well, this was the 1970s, so even the women had sideburns back then.
Yeah.
I just had like long reddish blonde hair, and it's just like to actually see that more than a movie. To actually see this is me, but it's a singular experience. I can't verify it for somebody else. It's just
So that's definitely the original mirror.
Yes.
Yeah, because every time I come in, I'm so drawn by that area there, always.
People who own this house tend to keep things here and leave things here, rather than extensively remodel. So Norma Sutcliffe and her husband Jerry kept it very much as it had been with the parents. They did some remodeling here, but that was moving around furniture rather than really restructuring. So I feel more alert and awake than when I first started this talk because it's just coming back here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe I've ever had a bad experience. The only unfavorable experience associated with this house for me is when we lost out on our investigation because we felt we were making some breakthroughs, and we were being as scientific as we could at the time.
One wants to know what was your worst experience in the house, and another one was, have you ever had any negative experiences in a barn?
In that barn outside, I've heard growling.
Last night, 2 of them. Yep.
Yeah, almost twisted my ankle once out there. That was a little negative. I can't say I've had a really negative experience in this house, really unfavorable, let's say, except that we lost out on the investigation, obviously couldn't come back. It was disappointing not to hear from Mrs. Perron and find out we weren't going to come back here. And after a while, the parents had lost faith with, especially Roger Perron, with paranormal investigators. But things didn't always go smoothly even before the warrant. There was a rival team based at Rhode Island College, and they were very busy trying to claim jump our cases. And they showed up here. They heard about it. Obviously, somebody had been standing at the door when we were having a meeting, and so these two showed up here and decried Pyro. Said, we were just totally disingenuous, you couldn't rely on anything we were doing. They were the real paranormal investigators, so the parents should use them. So that made both teams look bad. So things like that would happen. I believe Andrea Perron was quite suspicious of me at first. She was 16, I was 18, and she wrote in her book, Volume 2 of House of Darkness, House of Light, the 3-book series. She gives a raving review of the impression my brother made when he first came here. But me, there was something dark and sinister about Keith's twin brother, So I've always been the evil twin anyway, so I didn't mind.
Does your brother still do this, or is he done doing paranormal?
No, my brother is very much involved in paranormal research and investigation. He'll go out on cases at times. He is also a demonologist. My brother and I are very similar in our methodologies, but differ in our theories of origins. I'm more of a secular demonologist. He is an applied religious demonologist. Well, actually, there is scholastic and applied demonology, and I try to incorporate both. My definition of demonology is the systematic study of the lore and cultural traditions of wicked spirits. Simple as that. Somebody can study demonology, and other people get out into the field and actually try to assist people. I wouldn't say one is superior to the other. I try to incorporate both. So my brother's still a demonologist, yes, very much so. He's my identical twin brother. Well, he did quite a favorable impression when he first came here. He was wearing his white muslin shirt. He was thin and had longer than I had. He had very long blonde hair. This was lighter than mine. He'd been doing landscaping work. So here we got this young man. He's got hair parted in the middle, long hair. He's got a white shirt on, carrying a Bible. So one of the daughters, Nancy, one of the Perron daughters, was looking out the kitchen window, and we pulled up. And so she said to her mother, "Mom, Jesus is here." And the girls took my brother and took him by his hands, brought him down to the pond. And
Oh.
it's just a good memory of that day, and it led to one thing after the coming back. And finding Carol and Perron so physically altered and reassuring them that you're not alone in that, in this. We know you're not hallucinating. We're going to do what we can. We can't promise we're going to get rid of things, but we'll document. And then, of course, Ed and LaWarren came in and that eclipsed our investigation. So it's like history. Sometimes it seems like all meant to be. Other times it doesn't. But here I am back again.
Yep, it's meant to be.
So is there another question from the chat?
There's a couple quick ones.
I'll give quick answers.
One wants, Lisa asked, how do you feel about the place now? Do you think there's any more spirits here?
Oh.
And another one asked, what was your favorite memory being here?
Mhm.
You have one.
My favorite memory. Well, I can say that I definitely think, I do believe, I'm convinced there's still a presence here, or presences. Yes, I do think there are spirits here. I've never been here without a paranormal experience. It may be minor or greater, but hearing footsteps walk by me, seeing it come, I'm walking by, a closet door opens up, like that. But I think my best experience wasn't even all those years ago. It was, I'd known Corey Heinzen, and was surprised and delighted when I found out he was purchasing the Conjuring house.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think when I came here with my partner Elise, and introduced her to Jen and Corey, and was here for their celebration of the closing on the house, I think that was my best time.
Gotcha.
Maybe I haven't had my best time yet.
There you go.
It's all
That's
fun.
the truth.
It's all good. But that day, coming back here, said, wow. I had been here since in the interim because my brother heads his own team near New England Anomalies Research. And we came here with NEAR, and I was a member of NEAR at the time. And boy, my brother caught some really good EVP, electronic voice phenomena, spirit voices, we assume they are. And my brother was ascending the stairs and he was recording, played back his recorder, his audio recording afterwards, and hears a voice, neither male nor female. It just says, "We're still here." True, he's got that recording. I don't have it with me to play it for you. And Norma Sutcliffe asked me, "Where's your other investigator?" Russ Brissett, he was downstairs in the basement. I said, "Oh, he's down in the basement relieving himself." And my brother plays back his recording, and you hear Carl wisecracking, he's downstairs in the basement relieving himself. And that voice comes out and says, "Don't lie." Except this time it was a male voice. And went, "Don't lie." So you've got interactive, responsive spirits. We call it an intelligent haunt. Don't know what they are. I mean, are they deceased people? But they're aware of us and they want to interact with us. And they can through these recordings. So yeah, I don't think I've had my best experience here yet.
Nice.
Maybe they throw me a surprise party sometime. Another good experience was Kindred Spirits came here, and Adam and Amy, and that was good because the debut of their episode, when it actually aired, we had a gathering here, members of the Burrillville Historic Society. Elise and I were here, and so that was good. And Adam and Amy sitting up in front, and they didn't record that. Oh, why didn't they have this in? Oh, look what they got. It was fun just sitting around watching. That was a very good experience.
Awesome.
That's all good, And until I break an ankle or something, I think
Don't do that.
or say something so off color they don't want to listen to me anymore. You're not funny anymore. I think I'll continue having good experiences here.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I believe you're going to be investigating tonight.
Wrapping it up tonight.
Okay.
Night number 2.
Keep in touch. Let me know what's happening if I'm not here for the whole thing.
Okay, definitely.
Because August 1973, I had a wonderful time here. It was fascinating. It was spooky. Some of it downright scary, but I'll never forget it. So. And you've been here a number of times. And
A lot, yeah.
The house does not disappoint.
No, it doesn't.
Never does.
I expect a full report in the morning.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Appreciate it,
Thank you
Carl.
so much,
And
Carl.
just get in touch with me if you have more questions through Panorama Paranormal are these fine folks from
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
everybody asked,
And-
about your books and your
Yeah, actually I did. I forgot to bring mine. I was going to bring in some
social
of them.
media platforms.
Yeah, well, on Facebook, the ubiquitous Facebook, you can find me under Panorama Paranormal, myself and my director, Elise Gianmarco Carlson. I don't know who really is director because there's two of us. But we interact with other teams. And through Facebook, we have that page. I'm on Facebook, I'm Carl L. Johnson. I'm probably the only Carl L. Johnson in the state of Rhode Island who's a demonologist.
Yeah.
So you can find me that way. My book is Shadow Realms Demonology Handbook, and that's available through Amazon.com or through the author. You can get an autographed copy.
Nice.
Yeah, co-author with Lana Jan Brock, and so I'm not that hard to find. Look me up. Look me up through Penn Paranormal, in fact.
Yeah,
Find that.
I'll tag you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
please do.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, we should do this again. When are you going to? Probably won't be too long before you're back here.
We're good for minimum twice a year, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're booked for this year, so we're
Yeah.
gonna book for next year. You know,
Okay, good.
unless we come during the week, but it's hard taking off work.
Well,
You know.
you can come back before then, but, just
Yeah.
don't call it an investigation.
There
Just
you
take a
go.
lot of pictures,
There you go.
There you go.
What are they doing here? Oh, Corey, I kind of told them they could come back. I didn't think they were going to take me up on it. And just soon, here they
We're
are.
just messing around. Everybody just happened to show up anyway, so since we're here, what the hell?
Hey, and if they got a group here already, there are other places in Rhode Island to look at and investigate. But yeah,
There you go.
This is crown for me.
It is,
Yeah.
definitely.
My favorite place.
You're like me. You don't feel. You may get a little startled. You may even feel watched and a little eerie, but you don't want to leave.
No,
It's
mm-mm.
nice.
It's
Thank
definitely.
you.
Very much.
Yes, thank you so much,
very
Carl.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are we joining the party out there?
Yeah, I'll be in there in a second. Okay. Okay, guys, I will be back on in a little bit. I'm just going to say goodbye to Carl, see if he wants to investigate with us, see what he wants to do. So I will be back on. I hope you enjoyed it. That's Carl Johnson from the Demonologist, who was here with Lorraine Warren. We are at the Conjuring House. For people that don't know, I know I was watching some of the comments. Where are you? Where are you? I'm at the Conjuring House in Rhode Island. And so this is the Real Conjuring House, just so you know. But I will be back on in a little bit. We're going to do some investigations down the basement and in the seance room and stuff like that. So we will be back